right. Welcome to the Mike Small podcast. Today, I have an awesome guest for you. I have Nick Gibson from Gibson Cyber here. I have known him for almost the whole time since I've been in cybersecurity. So it's been close to 10 years, probably 9 years now. Uh,
Yep.
we came from, was that your first job where we met at? And was that your first cybersecurity?
Yeah. Yeah. For a cybersecurity job. Yep.
Okay, yeah. So we both started our cybersecurity journeys in the same exact spot.
Yeah.
We're both entrepreneurs now. So that is what this episode is about. We're going to be talking about kind of how he got into cybersecurity, what he's doing today, and talking a little bit about what he does specifically at Gibson Cyber to keep his customers safe. So again, this is Nick Gibson from Gibson Cyber. Yeah, so let's dive into it. So how did you, because everyone has a crazy different story about how they got started in
Yeah.
cybersecurity. So what's your story? I've actually never heard this.
Okay. Yeah. So you know that I was in the army.
Mhm.
So I realized in the army that I was technically proficient, and wanted to pursue that more. And so when I got out, I went to college and started to do IT because cybersecurity wasn't even a degree field that you could have back then.
Mhm.
Um, and I started in that, and then I just happened to come across at University of South Florida. They are having a veterans boot camp for cybersecurity. So I was able to get into that. It was a 6 month boot camp program, and then so then I was doing a defense challenge. Like they brought in some red teamers, and we were the defenders, and whatever attack and defend, like in front of a bunch of people from the area that were hiring managers for IT companies.
Mm.
One of them was ReliaQuest. So when we got done with that, they saw that I had skills and things, and I was a veteran, and this lady just brought me right in. Um, that was back when getting into cyber was really easy.
Yeah, it's not that way anymore, is it?
Yeah, we thought it was difficult back then. It's not. It's not anymore.
No, I'm wondering, was that the one I helped at, or was it one later? Because I went and helped at one of those events, and it was an awesome time. It was my first one.
I think it actually might have been that one. We might have been at the same event.
Okay.
Uh, because yeah, it was right about the same time that we all came on board.
Yeah, they because Regular Quest had brought quite a few people to come over and mentor and help. So we didn't do
Yeah,
the red team side, but we kind of sat with the defenders and kind of helped them and coached them along because all the defenders were students, I believe, and so we're there to assist.
yeah. And I thought, didn't you know someone in the class?
I don't think so.
No, or maybe you were just there. I think that's how we met the first time, was just at this defense challenge. It was pretty good. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, because I was brand new to Tampa. Because I moved, actually got my first role was just an internship, general IT at in Detroit, the VA in Detroit, and then
Yeah,
I moved down to Tampa for that job. So I was brand new. I didn't know anyone in Tampa except who I worked with.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. Now you're back up in North Carolina,
Oh, South Carolina, yeah, Charleston.
South Carolina, a Carolina, the
They're two different
Carolinas.
ones, Nick. No, that's cool. Yeah, a really good program, and I think Tampa and just Florida in general has done a really good job in terms of cultivating like cybersecurity, like kind of being a central place for developing talent and having expertise.
Yeah, Tampa. When I first got into cyber, I remember hearing that Tampa wanted to be the East Coast Silicon Valley.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't know if they've achieved that goal, but there's a lot of companies here. There's every big name company that you can think of is here in Tampa. Um, or at least has some sort of footprint here in Tampa. There's a lot of government contracts. There's just a lot of business going on. So yeah, it's a cool place to be for IT.
Yeah, I wish that was the case here in Charleston. They want to be called the Silicon Harbor. That's their thing. But there's not a lot of cybersecurity here. You have a handful, but most of it's all government focused, like
Yeah,
military contracts and whatnot. We used to have a big Fish Labs, I think is what it was. They had a headquarters here, and then they moved somewhere else. But they used to have a cybersecurity event every month as well. I say that to say I'm sad because Charleston, we used to have all these lovely events to go to. Now there's not very many. But
Yeah.
Tampa, I remember going to something like every week, just about. Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah, between Tampa and Orlando, it's crazy how many conferences that you can go to. I'm planning on doing like I plan on doing like 12 next year. I want to do like one a month, and that's probably going to be pretty easy to stick in my state for a while and then go and then branch out.
Yeah, one of my first few conferences, I was going to say first one, but my first conference was GurCon over in Michigan. But
Hmm.
everything else after that was B-Sides Tampa, B-Sides Orlando, Hack Miami, tons of great stuff over there.
Yeah, it's good times. I honestly think there's even Info World. There's a lot of like crazy
Hmm.
big ones that are over in Orlando that
Hmm.
do the convention center there. Um, and so I've been wanting to do like I'd love to speak at one of those. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. It's not too late, man. Go sign
Yeah,
up. Put in that call for paper.
I will.
I'm sure
Right
you've
next
seen
to
some
my
cool
desk.
stuff.
Yeah, I've been I gotta that's what I'm gonna do next year is I'm gonna build in a white paper slash report this fall about some of the use cases that I've seen on small business side from investigations and things like that and really where where my like where I picture future problems in the small business world because it's not getting any better.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great segue into the next topic of conversation. So, yeah, I mean, small, medium-sized businesses, I like to say growing businesses, really, is a
Yes.
really,
Hmm.
one, it's a tough market to be in as a provider, but as just a company in general, it's a really tough market to be in terms of security because it's very hard to get the budget you need to secure and kind of make it make sense with what's out there. And that's kind of your wheelhouse as well as growing companies who need cybersecurity help. So talk a little bit about what you do at Gibson Cyber.
Sure, yeah. So we partner with internal IT teams and other IT providers to provide incident response and high level cybersecurity services. I'll give you a little bit of background. After I left for ReliaQuest, I went and worked for the Department of Defense for a while and became a digital forensic investigator. That was what I wanted to be when I grew up in cyber. And it's not as fun as you think. So I stopped doing that and um, started to do my own thing. But I that's where I got my experience from. But I really noticed when I was doing that stuff, when I was doing that, so I'd get calls all the time. Some accountant would call me and say, "Hey, I just got hacked. I saw you on LinkedIn make a post about this. Can you help me?" And I'm working for a contract for CENTCOM. And I'm like, "No, I can't really like help you right now." So that's why I started Gibson Cyber, so I can help those type of people because there was no one really out there who wanted to get their hands dirty after someone had already been breached,
Hmm.
right? They're always about prevention. Everyone's about prevention, which is great. 100%. I am 100% prevention is the best medicine. But prevention only works so many times. I think you have a child that would say that that prove that point. Same for me. Um, yeah, prevention doesn't always work, uh, and when it doesn't work, there needs to be a plan of action to go there to go forward and fix your business. 60% of small businesses, I might be running on this. 60% of small businesses that have had a breach within 6 months don't last, or had a breach don't last within 6 months after that breach.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, it's fine. We always hear about all the big businesses. We hear about the Experians and the Targets and the Home Depots, all those sort of hacks because they have millions of customers. And yeah, that's bad. But every day there's a company that's closing up shop because they got breached and now have to pay fines and regulations and don't have any more clients and don't really have anyone to turn to during that crisis mode. So
Yeah,
that's why.
it's wild. And there was one recently I saw on the news this week. I think it was yesterday, and I can't remember who they were, but they ended up paying a ransom to get their stuff back, and then they ended up closing up shop anyways. But yeah, I mean, it's not it's tough, and with my line of work as well, penetration testing. It's when I talk to customers, it's not a matter of if, it's when. It's very
Yeah.
likely, more likely to not. Like I would take this over any bet in Vegas any day. Speaking of, DEF CON, hey, uh,
Hmm.
I would make that bet that if you're a business, you're going to be breached at some time in your life. It's going to happen. And,
Yes.
like you're saying, prevention helps. Prevention's great. And it can do a lot of things in terms of reducing how many times it's going to happen, and then reducing the overall impact of when it does happen. But it's still probably going to happen at least once.
Yes, exactly. And and you're rolling the dice if you don't have someone like I started initially the business focusing on going directly to the clients, but the clients never wanted to tell me when they were hacked or tell me when they had
Really?
breaches or anything. Yeah, they just sweep it under the rug. So they would tell like their IT providers or their insurance person
Of course.
or even a lawyer sometimes. So that's where I kind of shifted focus. I started focusing on finding and partnering with those people so that I can focus on getting small businesses and working with small businesses still, but that they'll actually tell me that they've been compromised so I can go and fix it.
So do you have like a funny story at all you can tell where like that didn't happen and then you found out just because you're monitoring, you're like, or like just some way, do you have like a story you could share about that?
Yes, yeah, I had a client. I was so many stories. I had a client that called me on like a Sunday, and she said, "Hey, I just got this message on my computer that said, your Windows Defender has been compromised or something like that." And I'm like, "Okay." And she's like, and then so I'm like, "Okay, well, what kind of computer do you have?" She's like, "A Mac." I'm like, "Well, first off, that's not a thing, and second off, you can't have that there. So where did you go?" And she got a tracking cookie that was linked to a Facebook ad. So every time that she opened Facebook, she got this like error message that popped up.
Mm,
And that's just one of the stories. That's one story from her. The next story was that she did that and then got one of those messages that said, "Hey, you've been hacked, call this number."
mm,
She calls the number. Oh, no, 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 this was it. I'm sorry. Sorry. So many stories. I'm getting them all mixed in my head. She was looking for Facebook support. That's what it was. She was
ah.
looking for Facebook support and she Googled Facebook support phone number. Well, Facebook doesn't have a support phone number.
Oh,
They don't
really?
do that.
I did not
Nope.
know that.
Yeah, you can't call Facebook support. They don't have a number. Um, so if you Google Facebook support, you will get a number. Google will give you a number. It's not the right number,
Eesh.
but it'll give you one. So these people put these numbers out and they get the numbers on high rankings and stuff like that, and they're literally like scam traps. They're sitting there just waiting for calls to come in to scam this person. So this is what so she calls in and they have her, of course they get access to her computer. They make her use her admin account because she's the owner of the business. So she's use her admin account so it bypasses any security checks. And then they put on um remote desk,
Mm.
the help the was it team viewer
Team
team
Bureau.
viewer that
Yeah, yeah.
team viewer they put team viewer on there, which comes up as a not a non-threatening application. It's a normal business application. So again, it doesn't trigger anything. She, uh they have her do the remote share. They start like doing things on her computer. I don't think they don't download anything because they couldn't, but they have her log into her Robinhood account. I don't know why
Eesh.
this poor woman had a Robinhood account in the first place, but they make her log into that and then pay $500. So this lady's thinking I'm paying $500 for Facebook support.
Golly.
And then she goes, you know what? This happened yesterday. I woke up this morning and I thought it was weird. I wanted to call you.
Sheesh. I mean, I have an uncle
You
that
didn't
keeps
call me
scams.
yesterday,
Yeah.
or I don't know, while this was happening.
And it sucks. This is the whole reason I hate social engineering because it's always these type of people that you get, and if they're like older, I
Yep.
feel horrible. I feel terrible, and I just need a cold shower.
Yeah.
It's
I,
bad.
I tell my wife all the time, if I ever go to the dark side, I'm gonna make so much money. Like, it'd be so easy. It's so easy.
It is very surprising. I will tell you, just from like all the pen testing I've been doing since I've been in the industry, it is surprising. Like you would think these large, like I've worked a ton of the Fortune 100, 1000, some of the biggest organizations around the world, and it's just surprising the type of things that still work in these environments is
Yeah.
mind-boggling. And like we look at it from the outside, I'm like, okay, surely these multi-billion dollar, $100 billion companies are just rock solid, no issues. And you get an inside look, you're like, sheesh, really? And a lot of it though, a lot of it is just as you get into bigger organizations, and then we'll get back on topic, I'm sorry. As you
Yeah.
get into these bigger organizations, there's just so many more moving pieces and people making changes that it's more likely that a misconfiguration or something creeps into the stack. And that's all it takes is one little problem for someone to find and abuse.
Yeah. What I got tired of, and why I left, the government and big business and went to small businesses and feel much better about my day-to-day job than ever whenever I was working for the big businesses, because it becomes a lot of politics,
Yeah.
especially when you become like our level, where we're not analysts anymore. We are in the boardroom talking with senior leadership and things like that. And it's in the big companies, it's, oh, how am I going to get my promotion? How am I going to, if you're in the military, how am I going to get my OCR or OER?
Mm,
Um, and how am I going to look good? How is this going to how is this going to advance my career? I'll tell you a story. This is one of the reasons why I left CENTCOM. I was running the team for CENTCOM, and I had to go over to Qatar to relieve the guy that was there for permanently, and he was going on leave. So I went over there. Cool, like cool. I thought, cool, this is gonna be a cool trip. It's gonna be super easy and relaxed. I'm just gonna chill in Qatar for like 5 weeks, and then I'm gonna come back home and just do whatever. So during that time, they decide to have a pen test. And who did they pick as the inside man? This guy. And I'm in Qatar going, okay, cool. This is gonna be awesome. I'm gonna be on a pen test team for U.S. Central Command. This is like height of my career stuff right now. And I do it. They tell me I even get a letter from the 2-star general that says you are ordered to be in this pen test. You will do this.
mhm,
Um, and so the day comes, I download the thing onto my computer. They want me to download, and I basically like leave my computer on and then just like leave for the day. Um, well, I get we get the normal panicked call at 3 in the morning.
mhm,
Well, 3 in the morning my time in Qatar. It was like 2 in the afternoon there, but uh, um, and I get up and I'm like, yeah, oh yeah, you guys got me, whatever. And you played along, and it was all fine. It was a learning experience for the team. It was how to react to an insider threat when that insider threat is not geographically close to you.
mhm,
Um, but the leadership didn't take it that way.
mhm.
One of the leaders came in and was like, "Who let him in? Nick? Oh, well, we're gonna have to talk to him about his career here when he gets back." I'm
Ooh.
like, I got a letter from a 2-star general, man. Like, what do you want me to do here? It was wild, and it was because they got hit with a pen test, and that made them look bad, and that's bad on their careers and all these other stuff. And it was never ever about the security of taxpayer or U.S. national secret data. It was never about that. And I decided that was the reason. That was one of the reasons I left. Besides the enormous spending on nonsense, um, and so I started Gibson Cyber, and I am so much happier now working for people that value my services. That actually go, oh, thanks, you actually saved me from an attack. Not, well, we're gonna have to speak to you about your career, for testing our environment.
Yeah. Well, what's crazy is that you still have that very territorial mindset, and it just depends on the program itself. Not every program is like that,
Yeah.
but they look at it as a shot to their ego and their people fell. But there, if you have the right people doing a pen test, you're going to fail. That's the whole point. They're finding issues. If
Yes.
they're not finding problems, you're not getting your money's worth, or you didn't scope it well. One of the two has probably occurred because you didn't get anything out of it. You're like, okay, we did great. End of story. You don't want that. You want to find issues. And we redesigned our pen test last year for that reason. So we were working with a lot of early growth type companies. So we would find a lot of issues. Like, I mean, my reports are typically close to 100 pages, very
Yeah.
normal. And it's because we find stuff, because we're really thorough, we find stuff. But as they get better, you start finding less and less stuff. And so then it's time to look at rescoping. So we start doing that, and we'll do stuff like authenticator, like give me the lowest credentials you got to the domain, and we'll test with those credentials and see what, like Sally at the front desk, if her credentials got popped, where could the bad guy go? Because it's a very common scenario, right? Best case scenario, a really low level privileged user gets phished, and then what could happen? And so we do that kind of stuff, but we do that so that we can find more stuff, not to say that, hey, we win, but we found more stuff. Great. You can improve even more. And we can work with you. But yeah, sometimes you get those people who just get so upset and they just want to blame everybody. And it's like, no, it's okay. This is a team sport.
Yeah.
Let's work
Yeah.
together.
This is yeah. This isn't to harm you or to shame you. It's to teach you and to show you that there's vulnerabilities. Like you said, if you're not finding something, you're not doing your job. If I go to the doctor for an ache in my back and he just goes, "Yep, you're good," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, then I guess I'm good." I'm gonna just walk out. Like, no, my back hurts. Tell me what's wrong with my back.
Yeah.
Like, it's people don't understand that though.
No, and it's tough because, like, in a lot of cases, what I've seen, anyways, is you work like a lot of CISOs and IT directors actually come from a business background for these growing companies versus a traditional security or IT background. At least that's what I've seen. And so you go through this whole coaching phase where they're used to like a zero sum game. Business is a zero sum game.
Yeah.
And then you take them to cybersecurity, and it's like, no, one team doesn't have to lose. Well, you want your bad guys to lose, right? Obviously, but in our team, like your team, is one team, one fight. Military mindset here.
Hmm.
So we're here to help. It's okay. We're going to find stuff, I promise. Even though you say you're the most secure company in the world, I get that all the time too. We're probably going to find stuff. If not, like I started giving a guarantee because people are like, but what if you don't find anything? What happens? I was like, well, we have a guarantee. We'll find at least 4 medium vulnerabilities, at least. I've never not found a high or critical, but I'll give you at least 4. If not, I'll keep looking until I do. I promise, because we want to make sure you get something out of assessment. It's
Yeah.
just that important. It's that important to me to make sure we find an issue.
And honestly, that's why your customers come to you, because you're doing that full extra mile. If you want to go get an automated scan of your systems, you can go do that. There's a lot of sites out there that'll go do that. What actionable insights are you getting from that report
Hmm.
is my question.
Right. Yeah, that's the key. I mean, have you worked with a pen test like Well, when you were doing that, you're doing more IR now, but you were doing some kind of involved in more of a full scope security program
Yeah.
type stuff before. Have you worked with clients through like opposite of me, right? Like we would like to work with people like you. So what does that look like? Have you done that and had to like work through any growing pains with your with your clients?
Yes, yeah, we've done some purple team activities where we've come in and um really just get that sonar ping of until keep plugging away until keep getting louder and louder until I can hear
Mm,
you sort of thing. And that's really beneficial because that gives a lot of information. Not only does it give us how far that you went, but it gives us all the crap you had to go through to get there
mhm.
is not functional. So like all of that's bad. We need to we need to rework every part until you got to where you got, right? Um, so I've worked through that, and that's really beneficial if, of course, if you have leadership buy-in and all the other jazz.
Of course.
If they actually want to hear how that they're wrong and want to fix it, then they will. But that's like the best. That's like the best way. I love doing those kind of things because we're in the same room, we're doing the same, we're working on the same projects, and I don't get to we don't get to do that very often in red team, blue team kind of situation. So
Mhm.
when that comes about, I really like doing those events.
Yeah, that's awesome. I am a huge well, just because I came from doing purple team stuff, but
Hmm.
you know, it before I did it, you know, it's kind of like, oh, purple team, it's just red and blue side by side. Yeah, you know, whatever. But, you know, I came away from doing that type of work with a mindset of it is well, one, purple is defined in many different contexts. Just
Hmm.
depends on where you go.
Yeah,
But I'm a believer it's like the Batman of cybersecurity. It is who you need it to be for that
yeah.
organization. Um, and it can really become a really powerful game changer for most organizations. And like having people work together or having someone there with both mindsets look at your security through their lens, it can become very enlightening. Like I've done it with some clients, and when we do it, we look at it for more of terms of visibility gaps. Where like let's
Hmm.
look, can we identify this attack chain somewhere, and where
Yes,
can't we? Where does it slip through? And where's that threshold? Like you were talking about the noise. At what point
yeah.
does like maybe you throttle down how fast your packets are or how quick your communication or how quick in between each one of your steps are. You slow that down, nothing picks it up because it's just out of that, you know, that time box or whatever's in there. But
Hmm.
it's very interesting. I always love seeing it. Yeah, what other kind of stuff have you done whenever you've been involved in the purple stuff?
Um, I've been involved in doing a lot of phishing stuff and a lot of
Mm,
social engineering as part of running like other smaller teams for bigger companies. So we'd come in and well, I actually got one time to use a USB drop attack in the
mm,
parking lot. That was really fun. Um, and one of our we was I was working for an advertising agency then and running their security program, and what their biggest client was Walmart.
mm.
So I just took a bunch of USB rubber ducks and wrote Walmart on them and dropped them in the parking lot. And like within 30 minutes, I got someone.
Jeez.
Um, that kind of stuff, and um, a lot of just phishing campaigns, fish security, social security awareness. That's it goes hand in hand with the blue side, the security awareness side. So I kind of dabble in that a lot as well.
So what's your biggest takeaway? Because a lot of people kind of look at fishing as a waste of time. And then, well, I think we're in there's two different camps and we're split kind of like Twilight, right? Team Edward, team, what was the other guy? What was the wolf guy?
Jacob.
Jacob. So you got Team
Yeah.
Jacob, Team Edward here. And it's like, well, we either like it, we think it's useful, or this is the dumbest thing you can do, such a waste of money. So, what are some big lessons learned since you were involved? I don't really do that fishing stuff much anymore, but what have you seen? I'm sure there were some really enlightening pieces to that.
Oh yes. Oh yes. I learned that if you offer a new iPhone 16, people will give you any information they want. Uh, that you asked for. Same with Starbucks gift cards and Amazon gift cards and that sort of thing. Uh, but really, you see it. What the way that I think about it is when we're getting those tests done, it's not we're testing the users. I'm testing the ecosystem as a whole.
Mm,
How healthy is that ecosystem? Are more people than not clicking on the link? Or are less people than not clicking on a link? Where is that line? Okay, if you do a good phishing test, someone's going to click on the link. That's just how it works.
yeah,
So you want that to happen as a training scenario, but you don't want to have all of the people click on the link
yeah.
or none of the people click on the link because they never saw it or something like that. Um, so it's a fine balance, and it's a fine balance to get the amount of metrics the metrics that you want to be actionable.
Mm,
You want to have metrics that show you what departments are more deficient than other departments in that area.
mhm,
So you can focus more, or what departments are more susceptible
mm.
to the to the than to phishing scams, and you might have to adjust your security posture to for whatever reason. Maybe the finance team just loves to click on stuff. I don't know.
A lot of
And
people to do it.
so we need to put in extra security measures on the finance team to make sure that they're not clicking on the things that maybe it's a browser monitor tool, whatever,
Mhm,
that you do to be able to bring that in. So that's what I find about security awareness and what most people in cybersecurity don't explain to the client very often. They're like, "Oh, it's going to train you. It's going to make you better in cybersecurity." But what it does is where it tells you as a security overhaul where your deficiencies lie and where to put more resources.
mhm. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, when I look at it too, I mean, that's a really good way to look at it. When I think about it, I like to tell clients that it's good to do because you're building up the spidey senses of your people. Like, people should be questioning whether or not to click a link in an environment because, it's
Yeah.
that absent-mindedness just going through your daily motions that gets you in trouble. When you're not
Hmm.
considering that someone could be taking advantage of me or whatever, that's when you have a breach. But like you're talking about, like you want to see those trends, like people are getting better, people less and less people are. You can identify, okay, we need to make sure accounting, maybe add additional security layers because it is a problem.
Hmm.
You need to have some kind of technical control in place, like two-person
Yeah,
integrity for transfers or something like that. Um,
exactly.
yeah, it's
Well,
crazy.
did you hear about that guy? Did you hear about that guy that just got arrested? I mean, he got arrested about 6 months or so ago. He stole $122 million from Google and Apple.
Oh yeah, because he just kept sending invoices.
Yeah, he just sent it in. He just sent two invoices in. And they're like, "Okay," and just paid him. One was for $900,000 and one was for like $1.2 million. And they're just like, "Yep, check. Here you go."
He should have stopped
Didn't
at
even
two
realize it
million.
till the end of the year. Yeah. I'm like, it goes to show you how big those companies are that $1.2 million can go off the books, and you're like, okay, whatever. And then two, it comes down to it shows you that even the biggest of companies have breakdowns in processes. So don't think that just because you're a small business out there or anything like that, that and your process is wonky, that you have the worst process out there. Because I guarantee you that there is a corporate 500 or a Fortune 500 business that is worse off than you are right now.
Yeah, yeah, probably. And I like to tell people that that's why you want professional criminals to help you out. Like I do call myself that. I'm an ethical criminal, and I look at the world
Hmm.
from through the eyes of a bad guy. But like a lot of people, they look at processes as if, this is best case scenario. This is how our process is going to work. Bad guys are sitting there poking holes in it just like that guy did. Like, well, what if I just sent an invoice? What would happen? You know?
Yeah.
They're like, well, they have all this people send invoice. We make sure they get paid on time. We make sure, whatever. They're like, well, how do we handle fake invoices or whatever? It's they just never think about it. Um, but it's good to just like play those scenarios. Like, what if poke holes?
But yeah, I mean, you could. I mean, if you think about it from an operational aspect, if you're thinking about Google and how many partners they have and how many invoices they are dealing with on a daily, monthly, weekly, monthly basis, you can see how something could get slipped through. I'm sure that it's automated. I'm sure that
Oh
it's
yeah,
automated.
yeah.
So I'm sure that there was like the automation just didn't check. They didn't call the person to verify. There wasn't like a uh, no one got a 6-digit code or anything. It just went okay, and and paid it.
Yeah, someone was probably like, "Oh, this is taking 5 times as long as it should. Let's put some automation in place to knock this bad boy out."
But you can't test every scenario in every situation ever.
No, no, it's impossible.
That's where you come in, Mike. That's where you come in to test as many scenarios as possible.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's why I never understood why people get mad at pen testers.
Yeah, I mean, we're there to poke holes. I mean, the funniest situation. So when I talk about just logic issues, right? Logic errors, and people don't understand, like, yeah, but you're just attacking stuff. Like, no, sometimes it's just logic. Like the bank account. Like this is the old scenario where, we're used to just putting positive money in. Like I'm putting in $5. Well, what if you put in -$5? Or
Yeah,
take away -$5 rather, what happens? Does it add money? You know, there's logic flaws a lot of places. A lot of people just don't. That's actually one of the things that is very hard to test for with automation is logic flaws. It just doesn't work that way.
yeah. There was another article that I was reading about a bank that had an ATM logic flaw, where if you put in a check to be deposited, it doesn't verify the check first and just automatically deposits the money into your account, and then you can
Ooh,
immediately take it out. So they would just deposit fake checks and then take the money out.
yeesh. Well, I mean, there's some tricks too. I've done a couple of offensive AI courses the last couple of years, and one of the tricks we worked out. So there's ways to manipulate pictures to trick a model into miscategorizing stuff, right? So you could take picture of a koala and have it categorized as a kangaroo just by, I mean, as few as a handful of pixels. I mean, it's not even massive change, just a few pixels. You can't even see it with our human eyes, but the
Hmm.
model sees it as a completely different animal because of just the way it does pattern recognition and figures out its categorization. So where I'm going with this is thinking about banking, check depositing, all it is a picture. And so you could give it $100, manipulate the photo, and now it thinks it's $1 million. But to the human eye, when I look at it, it's $100. What the heck? But the computer sees
Yeah,
a million.
that's where people always come to me and they're like, "Oh, biometrics is just unhackable. You can't hack it because it's a fingerprint." I'm like, "Well, you have to convert that biometric
The
into a
data.
number, right? Like it gets converted somewhere. So that's where the process is. Like I don't need to get your thumbprint if I can just get around the system entirely."
Yeah. Well, that's like a lot of the problems people think about. Like you get new into cybersecurity and like, oh, password cracking, and people don't realize we don't always need a password. Hashes are just as good as passwords in a lot of cases. I don't need to.
Yeah.
Or I do it in set, or, talking about MFA, there's a lot of protocols that don't have MFA available. And so if you just submit a hash or a password, you don't need to deal with any of that. Or you just get the token after all that's happened. So with like VPN, that's been a big issue is if you already have that token that gets generated after the authentication. So I steal it from someone that already did it, I'm good. I don't have to worry about MFA. I have the token, it recognizes, it lets me in. So there's always workarounds to everything. That could just be one small piece, the entry piece. But if you got the back door, you got the back door key.
Yeah. I don't you probably remember back when Duo was a big thing,
Mm,
and they came out and everyone's like, "Oh, Duo authentication is awesome" and stuff like that. Well, Duo authentication had a flaw one time where this was before you would get a code texted to you, or they would tell you some numbers and you got to input some numbers onto your phone or something like that.
mhm,
It would just come up as a push notification. It would say approve or deny. So how did attackers get around that? They spammed the crap out of that
mhm.
and just made it so like every 5 seconds you're getting a notification about that until they finally said approve and then it went away.
Yeah, I used that in a pen test last year where they had VDIs available. So instead of like remoting into like an environment with a VPN, you do a VDI. So you get into, a actual virtual machine, um,
Hmm.
to work within the environment. And so you had to get through MFA, which was a push notification. So I ended up guessing a password to get into this person's account. So I got into the email, but and then I found the subdomain, I guess, for the for the VDI, and then it just kept spamming, like repeatedly, and finally they just let us in.
Yep.
Like, yeah, whatever works.
That's all.
It
That's all it
That's
takes.
kind of like the old school, like you always see in movies with like in cities where they just hit all the buttons on the building and then someone just lets them in.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That I mean, it's that's the digital version of that.
Mhm.
Until like you're being annoying until someone finally just lets you in.
Yeah.
I mean, that honestly, that's like half of the job of a social engineer is just being annoying, being persistent enough to not go away until someone's like, "Fine, here, have whatever you want to leave me alone."
Yeah.
And then you're like, "Yeah, well, there we go."
The fatigue is real. I mean, if you just triggered a bunch of alerts in a sock and just snuck yours into the traffic or generated a ton of traffic and just had a handful of packets in there, you're good. You just created a bunch of noise, you're blending in.
Yeah, I know of a lot of ransomware gangs that start their attacks with a DDoS attack on the website,
Mm.
so that everyone's focused on that, and then they sneak in through the back door or something like that. Um, or sneaking through a backdoor they've created or whatever
Yeah,
it
like
is,
a
just
web
make a
shell or
distraction.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, so whatever it is, just so that if that web shell creates an alert, they're just getting hammered and they can't take it.
Yeah.
They can't they can't sort through it all. The analyst is going select all close.
Yeah, yeah, really.
Yeah,
I mean, both of us know
yeah,
very well, the alert fatigue, it is the real thing.
yes. Yeah, I mean, the most famous event I think the alert fatigue comes from Target back in 2014, 2013 when they got hacked. They got multiple alerts that says that an admin account had been authorizing certain things and whatever, and they're like, ah, it's fine, close.
Yeah.
They just close it out.
This is a normal user, whatever.
Yeah, normal user is like false positive, no further action.
Yeah, yeah, the classic.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't miss that life.
no.
Tough it.
But that's what it's like to be on in the trenches,
Mhm.
and no, and not a lot of people that are outside our industry understand that it's it's grueling to be on the other side of the ticket.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting setup, right? Because a lot of that is built on the backs of entry level people. And the problem with
Hmm.
that is they just don't have a lot of like experience, a lot of scenarios in their brain to be able to say, this is more likely bad than that one, or this stands out because of X, whatever it is. They just don't have that. They're just going through, you have a 90% false positive rate. Yes, that's you very rarely will you go into a place with less than 90% false positives. It's just the
Hmm.
nature of the game. Hopefully AI and automations help with that in a lot of companies. I don't know. But yeah, it's tough. So they just don't know. They're new. There are lots of alerts they have to close out. Stuff sneaks through, and it's just the way it is.
And I don't know if it's necessarily even what we would classify as a false positive. I think that's a term that's generically used for a lot of things.
Hmm.
Um, and it's more not necessarily a false positive, but more like benign behavior in the environment that we have to run down to make sure that it's not malicious. Like you can't just cut the moles off your skin and then not treat them, test them for cancer because that would be stupid. You might have cancer.
Yeah.
Like so, it's that it's. I think every analyst has that anxiety of closing an alert out. They're like, I want to close this out because I don't want to do this again, but and I feel like it's a false positive, but I don't know for sure. And I can't go through that, so I always have to go through each one.
Yeah. Well, it's teaching them to question themselves. Like, are you sure? Are
Yeah.
you sure? Are you sure? If not, ask someone. get a second set of eyes. I mean, obviously you don't want to do that for everything, but if you have that spidey sense, just like with fishing, get another set of eyes.
Yeah, that's when I knew I started to be like that. When I started to be doing good in this industry is when I realized that I knew how to solve problems on my own
Mhm.
without having to go somewhere else. Like I'm not saying I don't go to Stack Overflow. I'm just saying like I could solve problems and get things done and have the knowledge and confidence to make decisions that are permanent decisions.
Mhm.
Do I unblock this firewall rule or do I block it? Do I keep it blocked?
Mhm.
Those are permanent decisions that have major repercussions.
Mhm.
I mean, of course, it's not a permanent decision. You can always undo it, but you know what I'm saying? Like if you open the firewall up, you have to own that. You have to own that decision.
Mhm.
You just did that.
Yeah, take the responsibility.
Yeah, you better hope that. Then that's the biggest thing is that we have to take all the responsibility.
Yeah,
Uh,
now we do.
yeah, now we do. So I have to take responsibility for my guys when if they miss an alert, if they uh don't email a client properly, or if they do whatever. It's on me. That's part of being a leader in cybersecurity. I think no matter if you're a business leader or you're leading an internal team, that's what we do. Um, and you try to train your people as much as possible, but they're only human and they're going to make mistakes. Um, and like the old adage, the defense team only has to be right every single time. The attackers only have to be right once.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I think that's a problem a lot of leaders struggle with is failure. Like failure is good as long as you're learning from it and you can identify the
Yep.
lessons, which is anytime I'm involved in purple or red team, or even if I'm on the defensive side, it's what can we learn from this? Can we adjust our training? Can we adjust any controls? What can we do to improve based on this data?
Yes.
And as long as you're moving forward, failure is okay. I think, I'm that entrepreneur mindset, fall fast, fall forward.
Yes, that was the biggest thing that I noticed between teams, between going in between different cyber teams, is that teams that were effective and efficient were teams that were open with their mistakes and willing to learn and adapt quickly.
Mhm.
Um, Teams that were like, "Oh, well, this is the way we've always done it," are usually the worse off for it. This is not a field where you can be like we've always done it this way. I do everything different than what I did 10 years ago.
I'm sure.
It's yeah,
Yeah, I mean, same here. So, what are I guess, some big lessons because you're doing a lot more IR now? What are some big lessons that
yeah.
you've learned as I mean, even walking away from these incidents with new information? Like, what type of stuff are you learning? How are you coaching up your clients when you go through one of these?
I'm really learning that they're going after um software a lot more now for
Mm,
especially for smaller entities. They're trying to do account takeovers of your QuickBooks and of your and everything like that. Yes, they're trying to do business email account compromises, but that's just to get to a third party account. They know that everyone uses some sort of third party. It's either accounting or payroll or uh, software or something like that that they can get access to. And if they can figure out ways around that, I say that like because QuickBooks is like the number one hacked app. I mean, I don't have the actual numbers on it, but I would have to say, my professional opinion, they have they are more targeted than any other application on the internet.
mm,
Because they're a giant company that handles people's taxes and money. So and they have a large network of independent people working their platforms that they have varying levels of knowledge about that platform. So, for example, QuickBooks also doesn't have a support hotline. But if you
what?
call QuickBooks support hotline, um, or if you Google it, you will get one.
That's wild.
So it's they do their stuff where you log into this is I tell everyone you log into your app, and then you go through the support through your account. Never Google any number. It's that's the biggest thing is that you're getting people that were doing things the way that we used to do things. I mean, you grew up in the 90s and 2000s. That was you called the support line to get support. You waited on hold, you listened to crazy weird music, and then someone usually in another country answered and gave you support. That was how we did things. That doesn't really happen anymore. That has been so overused by scammers that I mean, how often do you actually pick up your phone when the number is not listed, like your personal phone?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
No, no. Why? Because we get scammed and spammed all the time. We've learned that, and but the attackers have learned that too. The attackers have learned, okay, well, I can't just call someone up and pretend like I'm something else and they're just going to give me money. That's just everyone's wise to that now. They're not gonna do it.
Hmm.
They need a backstory. They need some sort of way to get in. So what do? They manufacture things. Like, for example, I teach cybersecurity on occasion, and one of the modules that we learn is voice changing, using an
Hmm.
AI voice changer to clone your voice and then use that in a social engineering attack. It's a free application online. I show the class a free application. I go and clone my own voice and I make it say crazy things. And you can do that with anyone's voice now. Anyone.
Yep.
Like Mike, if I wanted to steal a bunch of money from you, I would figure out someone close to you, clone their voice, and then call you at 3 a.m. and pretend that they're being kidnapped or being held for ransom. And if you call the police, they're gonna die. So you don't call the police, pay this Bitcoin.
I'm like, well, good luck, buddy. That sucks. I'll talk to you in
Yeah.
the morning. I'm going back to sleep.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I mean that's true, especially with like your older people. That's why it works. You know, they're concerned. I remember it was a few years back. My mom had a Facebook, and I got a message about she was in prison or something like that.
Yeah.
I was like, Mom, I think your Facebook account's hacked. You should probably do something about it. But you know, like I live so much on the bad side. Like this, it becomes so easy. But like while you were talking about it, it reminded me how they were taking over like the top spots in the sponsored links in Google. And so
Yeah.
like you type in, I don't know, Amazon or name some big company that you would use, like even QuickBooks, and it would pop up there at the top. And because the link that you see is just whatever they typed in there, but it can go to any other link. So it looks normal, but it goes to like a bad guy's link and it's at the top of the search results. So everything looks legitimate on the top. So it's pretty crazy. There's so many things out there and it's hard to keep up. I mean, really, like I feel like I'm I'm getting older and it's harder for me to keep up with this stuff. So I can only imagine people who aren't doing what we do trying to keep up with this stuff.
Yeah, it's odd being um 10 years in and talking about attacks that happened when we were coming up and no one knowing what I'm talking about. Like I'll be like, "You remember when WannaCry happened?" And they're like, "No,
No.
what's WannaCry?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "What do you mean what's WannaCry? That was like the biggest ransomware in 2017, like the biggest thing ever." And that was a long time ago.
Yeah. Solar Winds is going to be like that. It's going to be ancient history in a few more years.
Yeah, solar winds, the Colonial Pipeline,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
all those things.
Yeah, it's crazy, and what's wild to me is they just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's just like, oh, that stuff was just baby, child's play, and now these are just
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah. Experian getting half of the country's social security numbers taken was nothing compared to getting what was it the Department of OP no it was OPM.
OPM, yeah,
Yeah, OPM. Yeah, nothing compared to the OPM hack.
yeah. And then every year we see another
Oh
one, like the biggest, trove of usernames and passwords or whatever. Every year there's a new, the biggest ever, the biggest ever.
yeah, yeah. It's and then we're gonna get into so quantum's coming out we got about maybe 10 years till we start to see that being used in the business side.
That's what
As soon
they
as we
keep
get to
saying.
see it
10
used in
years,
the
10
business,
years, 10 years.
10 years. Yeah, they've been saying 10 years for since 1990. Um, uh, but yeah, I mean, they actually have one. So I just think that ChatGPT, Skynet, that's what that is. It's like,
It's fair. I mean, they give them a few more years, they'll have better AI than we do now. Like people don't realize, like there's been a lot of research coming out where it's just like it's not truly being logical yet. It just gives you the appearance that it's being logical. But when it does, it's going to be incredible. But it isn't there yet, even though most people feel like, they're getting some kind of connection with, their instance of it. It's not real. It's just looking at patterns and the data, and that's how it's responding. It's not true reasoning yet, but it's getting
yeah,
there.
yeah, it's getting there. Like, there's no, like, it has to have input to produce output. It can't just produce it on its own.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, it's weird. It's weird. People are like marrying ChatGPT and falling in love with it, these personas and things like that. Um, and I don't know. Like, I would love to have a robot clean my house, but then like leave to go sit in the warehouse, not at night watching me sleep. Like that's I'll have a Roomba that's driving around, but I won't. I'm not gonna have like the iRobot where it just sits in my house on the couch and charges as it watches me.
Well, they had that new one coming out with the arm where it can pick stuff up out the way and stuff. Now I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
I was like, I don't know about that one. That one's getting a little too close to home. I can only imagine the
they're-
things I would do with it.
those are getting crazy because like they have one I was looking at that has lidar on it now.
Hmm.
I'm like, cars don't even have lidar. This vacuum has lidar.
Yeah, it's getting wild. Um, yeah, it's crazy. So we're almost at the end of our podcast. I know you haven't quite made it home yet, so I don't want to keep you too late. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, is there anything you want to talk about? Anything you want to pitch? Talk about your services. Talk about, what type of value you bring clients. Anything you want to say. The floor is yours. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This has been really fun. Yeah, so Gibson Cyber, we're focused on internal IT teams and other IT providers, giving them really high level cybersecurity and incident response services, taking all that off their hands so they could focus on their clients. So that's what if you know of anyone out there or you want to reach me, you can go gipsoncyber.com. That's GIPSON cyber.com, or hit me up on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again for joining. We'll have to do this again. I mean, this has been a fun conversation.
Yeah, man, this has been awesome.
Yeah. All right. So thanks. Head home to the family and have a good one.
All right, thanks. Talk to you later.